Hey, all my Leo friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your January 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Leo, I'm talking about Leo rising. If you are not a Leo rising, you might want to pull up your chart so you can see where the house structure is within your personal natal chart. These videos are based on the Pacific time zone. So if you are not in the Pacific, please adjust for your location. The year starts with Mercury stationing to move direct later in the evening on the 1st. About 7:15 or so, Mercury will officially be in its forward motion. Mercury is currently traversing through Sagittarius, where Mercury is not the most comfortable. It's considered in detriment. A planet in detriment is a planet that is in the opposite house of its rulership. So Mercury normally rules Gemini. Gemini dispenses short bits of information. This is where we're looking at our emails and our communications in a sort of a daily way. When we're up in Sagittarius, we're broadening the information that we get. It's more high. We consider it a higher education. This is where we get our PhDs, our masters. This is where we have philosophical conversations, where we encounter diverse energies, things that are foreign to us. Sagittarius also rules business, commerce. It rules publishing, branding, marketing. It rules wealth. It rules your religious beliefs. So as Mercury at the end of 2022 was making its way through Sagittarius, it retrograded in Capricorn, moved back into Sagittarius, and crossed over the galactic center twice. And now it's about to do it for a third time. The galactic center is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, and it is a point where we can access the quantum fields. We can get information and downloads and inspired solutions from the universe. So Mercury here is, while he's been feeling out of, being in detriment makes him feel a little bit uneasy, maybe even slightly out of control, because Mercury's sort of having to slow down and really broaden what information is coming through. And so I think this is kind of a cool thing, because this Mercury retrograde really gave us 3 different opportunities to rethink our belief system, our belief about money, our belief about our ability to birth ourselves out into the universe. And we see on this day here that Mars is conjunct the galactic center. And Mars on the 4th will move into its exaltation. We'll get to that in a minute. But I think what's happening, because Mercury and Mars have been traveling together since way back over here in Scorpio. So this is about digging deep into my psychological imprint, into my fears, into the things that hold me back, where I feel I have no power or other people have power over me. And now I'm having an opportunity to connect with my heavenly team, with my guides, with the universe in general, to support and focus in on where I want to move and what I want to build in this coming year. So let's move over to the 4th, where we will see Mars entering at 0 degrees of Capricorn. This is a significant day, not just because Mars is moving into its exaltation, but it is also moving into, it's on the world axis right now. And that axis is a powerful point of inception, of conception, of birthing something. The nature of Capricorn, which is your 6th house of work, it's your house of health, it's your house that involves your pets, but it really very much involves your everyday activities. So as Mars moves into this place where, people are rolling out the red carpet, I'm being tasked on some level as a Leo to go into my heart and to have the courage to start to put the mental structure, the words, the thoughts, the Mercury rules what you think, what you speak, how you process information. So as you've gone over this galactic center now two times, this is an opportunity to start to be aware of the thoughts that are undermining your goals. And rather than trying to release them, exterminate them, it's about incorporating them. It's like, oh, there's that part of me that starts to get stuck in, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And then I turn things over to the universe. Thank you, universe, for supplying me with that divine inspiration or that information. Because as Mars moves through its exaltation, I'm going to start to be able to put structure into, building a strong platform for my future. And this is also where there's a pacing. It's not all about rush, rush, rush. It's about building something that will last through the test of time. So this is, I think, going to be very powerful. We also see that Mars is making a sextile to Saturn, and Saturn rules Capricorn. So I'm going to click on that real quick. I think this is important because Saturn and Mars, while they appear, Saturn wants to move slowly, methodically. Mars wants to move very quickly. And yet together, I think of them like Saturn is like Yoda and Mars is like Luke Skywalker. And as Saturn imparts its wisdom to Mars, Mars becomes a strategic, peaceful warrior, only pulling out the sword when necessary. We also see that Mars is making and starting to make a trine to Jupiter. And of course, that will tighten as Mars moves deeper into Capricorn. But this is where, because this is where Mars gets brave about, what do I believe? What am I operating on? Am I willing to take a shot on myself? I say that because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Mercury's been going through Sagittarius and traversing over the galactic center. So this is somewhere where I can incorporate this energy. These trines are very favorable energies, and this sextile makes me feel as if there's this knowing from Mars that if I just take just a minute to think a little bit more about how I want to go about this. What is my platform of belief? Do I believe I'll be supported, or historically have I felt like I've had to go on my own? And as you stop to calculate or evaluate that awareness, then your next steps will be guided through the universe or by the universe more succinctly. That's what I think this whole sextile between Saturn and Mars can afford us. On the 11th, we will see Mercury making that exact conjunction to the galactic center. And on that same day, we see Venus conjunct the great attractor. The great attractor is a point in the universe where we become aware that we are the laws of attraction kind of come in here. So now we have this idea of, I can attract money, I can attract resources, I can attract the things that I need. And I become aware of this because I've been spending time being conscious to connect with the laws of the universe and start to implement them, Mars, in my daily activities, Mercury, so that I can create more abundance for myself. I think this is very powerful. We also have a new moon on this day. I'm going to actually change the time so you can see the new moon, because the new moon is at 20 degrees. This happens at 3:57 a.m. in the Pacific. And I think this is powerful because as we move into 2024, we're going to see a couple of new moons in a row at the 20th degree. That's the Scorpio degree. So here I'm planting the seeds in the dark of night. The new moon is the darkest phase of the moon, here to build a new future, to stand in leadership, Capricorn, to stand in awareness of my history. And rather than having it take me somewhere I don't want to go, I'm going to click on the new moon. I'm willing to look at where I've been, where I've given up my power. This is the square to the south node in Libra, exact 20 degrees. And then we have a square to the north node. And this north node is where I want to go, where I'm stretching to experience my own individual unique expression. And I think this is really powerful because this access has been calling upon us to identify where we have given up our power, where we have been in some ways diminished ourselves in the sake of cooperation. And I think now, and while Aries is known as the warrior, here this is where we become the hero. This is where we start to soften the extremities of this energy and start to really be aware of how maybe on some level Leo has given up their power in order to be cooperative. And we also see that this new moon is making a favorable aspect, a trine, to Uranus in Taurus. Taurus is your 10th house. This is the house where you are in the most public view, where people see your actions. It also rules career, leadership, natural house of Capricorn. So there's some sort of liberation being offered, some sort of epiphany. I almost feel like it's a lightning strike in my head that says, oh my gosh, I get it. I understand why I was walking that path. I see where I have put limitations on myself. And now, rather than villainizing that experience, I'm going to take it and I'm going to transform it into a tool to move me forward. All right, now let's go to, I'm going to change this back to noon. And we're going to go to the 13th, where Mercury enters Capricorn. Okay, so Mercury right now is at 29 degrees. So a little bit later in the day, it will officially move into Capricorn. Let's see if we put this at, say, 3 p.m. Oh, she's still there. All right, let's go to 5 p.m. Oh, dear. 7 p.m. Pardon me. All right, now we see. Now, again, I want to emphasize that when we get to the 0 degree of Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, or Libra, we're on the world axis. So here, Mercury is on the world axis, offering a new beginning. Capricorn, again, is your 6th house of work, your house of health. I think that for my Leos, that as you contemplate what would be the most fun for me to do, what would I get the most enjoyment out of in my everyday activities, and then start to connect with the universe, because this transit of Venus is going to come up on this galactic center in no short time, and she's going to be able to access information about how to make money, about how to use her skills, about how to use her talents. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and your 10th house of career is this is where you have an opportunity to shift your career dynamic. This is very much what I'm focused in on for January. We also see that Mercury is starting to make a sextile to Saturn. And this is where I can look at my history and I can start to delineate where things have information or experiences that I can't change. And the more I think about them, the more that they just keep me in the same place. And now there's this opportunity to shift that, just to have an awareness and then be, oh, there's that imprint again. And now allow myself a little bit of wiggle room to move into how it would feel when I am sitting in the career, in my money making endeavors, and I'm thriving and I'm enjoying it. Mercury right now, Mars is making a trine, very strong trine to Jupiter. This is brave action, brings wealth. Jupiter is at the Leo degree. And here we see Mercury doing the same thing. So, brave thought, brave in my, the bravery to me is like where I just don't judge myself for where I've been. I mean, I am a human, and my human brain was imprinted before I had any say in it. So this is where, as you're starting to rewrite your beliefs and believe that in your expansion, you can really take advantage of this Jupiterian energy as it transits through the rest of your 10th house in the beginning, first 5 months of 2024. We see on the 19th, we will see Pluto conjunct the sun at 29 degrees of Capricorn. Again, here's your 6th house. This is an opportunity. The 29th degree is the Leo degree. It reduces down to an 11. 11 is the master number of thought. Then I can't help but notice Mars is in a pretty tight, 4-degree conjunction with Mercury. Will I be brave in my thoughts? Here's that 11 degree. And Mercury is at the 7th degree of Libra. Do my thoughts create harmony and peace for myself? At the same time, here's Venus creeping up on the galactic center where those downloads are available to her, where the downloads could very well be your brilliance. The downloads could be that your unique expression has its own audience. And when you go out there and try to figure out what the audience wants, whether that audience is your family, that audience is your employers, that audience is your community, or a real audience like a YouTube channel, when you're authentic to your own personal tastes, interests, what you think is cool, you will bring in a natural tribe. So this conjunction here between the sun and Pluto, the sun's how I project myself into the world. Pluto's been breaking up the energy in Capricorn for quite some time. And literally like within 24 hours, Pluto's going to move into Aquarius. And this is now we see for our Leos, this particular day, we see this chart at the Leo with the Leo rising. So you see it's going to go into your 7th house. The 7th house is not just marriage partnerships. It's also business partnerships, contractual partnerships. And we see that this sun and Pluto conjunction is making a trine to the moon. Now the moon moves very quickly. So sometimes I feel like, to bring this up in an aspect is it could be fleeting, but at the same time, this is a growing trine. So this day in January, as Pluto and the sun are coming together, I feel like it's giving me an opportunity to really dig deep in my emotional body. Taurus and Capricorn both rule history. Taurus rules our personal history. We think of Capricorn as ruling world history, but here, this is a review. Do these things work for me? When I try to fix the past, when I try to change the past, when I try to reason the past, does it move my story forward? You may be finding out it doesn't, because this brave action that Mars and Mercury are fostering, nurturing in the house of Capricorn are asking you to sort of allow for, it's hard to say this because a lot of people want to release an issue, and I just don't know that can always be released. I think sometimes that knife in the back, once it's removed out of your back, can be the knife that cuts through the BS. That's the best way I can put it. All right, let's go on to the 20th, where we see the sun enter Aquarius. This conjunction, we see both, we see Pluto and the sun at the 0 degree. This is really, to me, while Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 years, this feels like, again, like things about how Leo sees themselves. The sun is your ruling planet. This is an opportunity to put light on the darkness underneath, whatever has held you back, wherever you've given up your power and control. And again, rather than judging it, allowing it life. I almost feel like the life is an intuitive knowing. It's like you have a negative experience represented by Pluto in your past. Then you go into a new situation and you're like, that energy reminds me of this. That is an intuitive knowing. And as you start to pay attention to that, that's where the transformation of your issues really is birthed. It's not in the releasing of them. It's in the recognizing of them in a new experience and then not walking blindly into that experience. Because here's Venus. She is literally 2 minutes away from an exact conjunction to the galactic center where that information can come in. If you're starting a business endeavor or looking for a job or anything to do with your career, this would be a great day to meditate about what you're endeavoring to get confirmation from the universe that you are aligned to the truth of what you want to experience versus any potential fears or scarcity about money. Okay, let's go on to the 23rd, where Venus will enter Capricorn. Now, I will say Venus is not the most excited here in Capricorn. It's sort of where she feels more restricted. You know, she's wearing turtlenecks and long skirts, and it's not quite as liberating for her, but it's also an opportunity for her to sort of put that part of herself on the back burner while she starts to practice using her skills to build her future and the money that she wants to create for herself. Here again, Mercury and Mars have been traveling pretty close together for quite a few months now, starting in the fall of 2023. And I think that while this can, you know, on an unconscious level create a war of words, it also on a conscious level can create a brave energy about who do I interact with? Am I interacting with people that foster my belief in myself, or are they spinning me around in a circle? Mercury rules are the people that we work with, teammates, workmates, our communities, our sidewalks, our roadways, you know, your errands, your emails, your interactions with your children and your siblings. So it's really it really pretty much dominates our everyday experience. So let's click real quick on Venus as she's entering Capricorn. We see she's going to start a growing trine with Jupiter. Now, both of these planets are considered benevolent planets where they offer benefit and good tidings. And what I think here when we're in these earth signs is Venus is starting to really connect that she has the skills that she wants to foster, to nurture, that she has all the resources. She's ready to stand more in leadership for herself. And this is supported by Jupiter. Jupiter is saying, you know, let's do something different. Let's go into foreign territory. And that foreign territory could very well be believing in yourself. So many times the physical human wants to move from one location to another, and that movement is expected to foster an internal shift, but it doesn't. It's the internal shift that fosters the outer movement. Now let's go to the 25th. There we go. And then we're going to have a full moon in Leo at 9:53 a.m. This is your full moon. And I want to offer this because if you can go back to the new moon in August, and more than likely Venus, well, I think Venus, she was in your first house. She spent a lot of time in 2023 in your first house. So you might want to go back in your mind and what was going on back then? Because now we see here, we have this full moon at 5 degrees of Leo. And the 5th degree is the Leo degree. It's still in a conjunction to Pluto. Pluto's energy, while it's a small planet, it is it has a potent energy. So here we're still examining our transformation. We're still looking for liberation from what has been. We're still wanting to birth something new in our lives. And Aquarius is your 7th house naturally. Here is this square between the sun and Jupiter. And I think this may be a day when you're curious if the outside world will respond to your shift in a favorable way. But as you allow for this illumination and you allow for the idea that maybe it's about my personal pleasure, maybe it's about, maybe I can't please all the people all the time, so I'm just going to please me, write the songs I like, do the work I like, endeavor the things I like, and the universe will open a spot for there to be prosperity to be garnished from it. I think that's really important. So I think this particular full moon for Leo is powerful because it's at your degree, and it's giving you an opportunity to really connect more succinctly to your heart and have the courage to move that forward. And I always think that the first step in moving anything forward is to connect with how I feel about something. Where am I on the believability scale? Do I believe it can happen? Okay, now let's go to January 27th. And here we're going to see an exact conjunction between Mars and Mercury at the 17th degree, which guess what? It's the Leo degree. And here we have Venus in Capricorn at the Leo degree. This is all about you. You know, your brave thought, you're brave. Taking action to have brave thought before you take literal physical action can be so powerful for you. I think it will really, they're making a square to the nodes, but the squares for me are always sort of this tense situation between a habitual way of thinking, my imprint, the brand on my brain and my heart, versus the evolved version, the one I'm stretching for, the version that gives me more bounty and more enjoyment. So here the square is here to the south node, partnerships, working with other people, being cooperative, creating harmony and beauty for other people. And then here is this north node in Aries, which is saying, but I want to create harmony and beauty and peace for me. And what I want to say for my Leo rising is that when you align with the liberated part of yourself, here we've got Uranus at 19 degrees moving forward now. This is the Libra degree. When you allow your thoughts to dictate your daily activities, then you will create peace and harmony for other people. Happy people end up making other people happy. But people who are trying to make other people happy at the expense of themselves end up making themselves and everybody else unhappy. So this is a really great month, especially for my Leo friends. Again, Leo rising, Leo moon, and Leo sun. And if you have a Leo stellium, this would be a stellium in Capricorn, but it's a stellium. This is a powerful point in your chart, so you're going to want to check that. Okay, again, I'm wrapping it up for me here in for January. If you'd like to book an astrology reading or an angel reading with me, I am available. My information is below. Just shoot me an email and I'll send you all the information and rates. And please join me Sunday mornings live at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we do live readings. We pull a tarot card and we do an angel reading for each sign to get advice for traversing the week ahead's transits. All right, Leo, enjoy. Happy New Year. 2020 should be I think it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be a year of liberation. All right. See you soon.